everyone, it's Lindsay. Today I am back with a pregnancy video, and if you guys have watched my last video, I announced that I am pregnant. I really wanted to make videos sharing my pregnancy journey because this is actually my second pregnancy, and when I was pregnant the first time around, I didn't really do a great job at making pregnancy videos just because I was exhausted. I had a lot going on. I'm going to be talking about how I found out as well as how it's been the first trimester, but let's start with the beginning of finding out. Also, I do want to give that disclaimer that I am not a health professional. I'm just sharing my experience of like what my body has been going through ever since finding out that I'm pregnant. So this was a pregnancy that my husband and I were planning for. The thing that I did notice that was very different with my body, and this is the part that I always find a little bit difficult to tell if you're pregnant or not, is that a lot of the pregnancy symptoms feel very similar to period symptoms. There were a couple symptoms that stood out to me that were different than normal, and the first one was that my chest felt incredibly tender. The second one was that I felt emotional over everything. I felt like everything was bothering me, and typically around the time of my period, there's always like one thing that I get very moody and emotional about that bothers me, and this time around it just felt like I was really sensitive to everything and I just felt a lot more emotional. So those were two things where I'm like, like this is a little bit different. Because we were excited about taking a pregnancy test, I didn't really wait too long to take a test. It really was like the first day of my missed period, I would just take a pregnancy test to see. And I remember taking it very early in the morning, and I really wasn't expecting the test to say that I was pregnant, but sure enough, it said I was pregnant. I like getting the clear blue tests that say with the words if you're pregnant or not, so there's no confusion. This one said very clearly that I was pregnant, and then I took another test after that. The one with like the plus, the lines, like the plus and the minus or whatever ones, and that one also said that I was pregnant. So this one for sure, I was like, oh wow, okay, I'm pregnant. And my husband and I don't really like sharing the news until we have our first doctor's appointment, and sure enough, when we went to the doctor's, we heard that little heartbeat and it was confirmed that I was pregnant. And so we were just so happy and so excited for our daughter Cammie to have a sibling. And that is how I found out. I know it's a little bit anticlimactic, but honestly, aside from my chest being very tender and me feeling a lot more emotional, there wasn't really anything that stood out to me being very different. I know the first time when I was pregnant, I just felt really tired, and that one we did wait a bit more to take a pregnancy test. Like, I did notice that I was late. We are going to move on though to talking about the first trimester, and oh boy, has this trimester been a wild one. So right off the bat, I do want to say that this time around with the first trimester was probably worse than the first time I was pregnant. I remember the first time when I was pregnant, I was incredibly exhausted, and I don't know if it was the pregnancy or just the circumstances that I was in. When I was pregnant the first time around, I was working full time, and I didn't really have as much time to just rest. So I just remember being so tired all the time. And this time around, I don't think I was as tired. I do work part-time, and so the days where I am off, I would try sneaking in a nap wherever I could if I was incredibly tired. So there was a lot more time to rest with this pregnancy, so I don't feel as tired. I also noticed that I didn't wake up as much throughout the night to go to the bathroom. I do remember that being pregnant the first time, and I feel like that also contributed to not having great sleep, because my sleep would always get interrupted by needing to go to the bathroom, and I didn't wake up as much, fortunately, needing to go to the bathroom. So that was a little bit of a blessing. In terms of being nauseous, I was definitely way more nauseous in this pregnancy than my first one. It felt like every single day I was getting nauseous. And it's rough. It's not a great feeling at all. That was definitely something that was different in this pregnancy than my first one. I did get nauseous in my first pregnancy, but it wasn't as much of an everyday thing as this time around. I remember throwing up maybe a couple to a few times with my first pregnancy, and with my second pregnancy, I just felt like I needed to throw up more. Another thing that was different from this pregnancy than my first one was that smells just really affected me. It didn't really happen as much with my first pregnancy, but with this one, I just felt like the smell of the kitchen would make me want to throw up. I had a really tough time cooking. I didn't really cook as often. We did a lot more takeout. So I really had to avoid the kitchen. We also have those garbage bags that are scented, and that just made me want to throw up. Makes me want to throw up right now thinking about it. Because I was really sensitive to smells, that did kind of like turn me off from wanting to eat a lot of things. But it's weird with this pregnancy because even though I was really sensitive to smells, I felt like I could eat a lot more of a variety with this pregnancy than the first time I was pregnant. The first time I was pregnant, again, smells didn't really bother me, but just nothing food-wise sounded good to me, so I kept it very, very bland. And I ate a lot of just like rice, pasta, like scrambled eggs sometimes, which also wasn't really that great. And I just ate a lot of fruits the first time that I was pregnant, and this time around I felt like I could eat a lot more variety, but I still didn't want to eat a whole lot. So it's really interesting to see how every pregnancy is different. There hasn't really been any foods that I've been turned off by, which was something that did happen a lot more with my first pregnancy. I remember I got turned off from bacon, which is a shame because I really do love bacon, and I didn't like eating chicken breasts. And with this pregnancy, bacon and chicken breasts don't really bother me. I can still eat it. And in terms of my mood and mentality throughout the first trimester, I definitely wasn't really in the mood to do much at all. I was just exhausted. I just didn't really have the heart to, I don't know, really plan for much, which is why my husband and I just kept things a lot more lower key. I had a tougher time going out, not just because of the nausea, but also I just had a tougher time just getting myself to go out. And I also feel like it was partially because of the weather also. Of course, we tried doing stuff with my daughter and like taking her to all her activities, of course, but in terms of just like us going out and having fun, it was a lot more lower key. I just felt like I didn't really know what to do if I had free time. I just felt very like blah. I feel like the weather also had something to do with it because I do usually also get like seasonal moodiness whenever that time rolls around. Maybe it's a combination of all of those things. I felt like it was more of just being pregnant, but fortunately I'm in the second trimester and I have a lot more energy, so I'm trying to take advantage of it while it's here. But anyways, that is it for this video. I hope you guys found it helpful. If you did, please give this a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, be on the lookout for more of my pregnancy videos coming up if you are interested, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys!